Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Daily Volatility Box Report for December 10th, 2019. We are TOSindicators.com, home of the Volatility Box. For today's trading, we'll focus on the 30-year bond futures, as well as looking at some stock candidates, both as fades that occurred today, along with information that we can use to try and look at opportunities for tomorrow, at least in terms of trending candidates. So let's start with the 30-year bonds. So for that, we pull up our ZB futures, and we're on our aggressive volatility box here, which is what we always start out with. And so in the morning with our first hour test, we see that ZB didn't breach either side's aggressive volatility box entry lines, giving us the okay that it was okay to continue to use the aggressive volatility box, at least for trading activity, until we were told otherwise that we were experiencing greater than usual volatility. Our first opportunity came as ZB fell perfectly into our volatility box lines, and we had an opportunity to go long right here. Our stop was outside of the volatility box, which if we measure, just so we can show you how it's done, was right around 8 ticks, right? We give it a little bit extra room just so we're not smothering the trade. 8 ticks is what we've risked, and we're looking to make that same 8 ticks back. And our second target is at our target line, which is right up here at the gray dash line, which is 13 ticks. So really our first trade is we're risking 8 to make 8, and our second trade becomes risking 0 since we move our stop to break even to try and make 13. Phenomenal risk to reward ratios. We only did receive the 8 tick follow through. We fell 1 tick short of our 13 tick target, which is a bummer to see, but that's really just the nature of sort of the market, right? It's important to remember that we have no idea what's going to happen next. ZB could have instead shot all the way up, and we would have only gotten 13 ticks out and left some money on the table. So it's really up to you to determine what fits your risk reward ratio, as well as your trade plan. For us, it's just keeping our orders set and then walking away once all of our targets are set and our stops are in place. So for here, we only hit our first target, and our second contract rather, was taken out at break even. Its price fell right back down, taking us out at our $0 plus some commission entry. Right, and so our first trade in the bonds was a success. We ended up getting our T1, and we fell 1 tick short of our T2, which is okay, but we still ended up pulling out some money from the futures market. In fact, we pulled out nearly $250 on that first contract, which is pretty awesome just in that alone, right? Now let's take a look at stocks for those of you that enjoy trading stocks a bit more. So for that, we'll remove our futures volatility box, and we'll bring in our stock volatility box. And so one ticker that we mentioned that we were looking at was blue, right? And blue is a ticker that gave us sort of a heads up that it's a likely trending candidate for tomorrow. So let's talk about what gave us sort of that heads up and why we know that tomorrow may be an area to look at the bullish zone for blue. So for blue, we had price open up higher, and we continued to make the move of the entire volatility box. Now, what would have normally been our entry to go short the volatility box here on blue and look for that target did not actually give us the target that we were looking for, but instead we continued to make a move up higher. And that then gives us a signal that blue was really not exhausting where we expected it to exhaust. Not the first level, not the second level, but in fact the third level is really where blue ended up going. In fact, it breached even outside of the clouds before it ended up just basically exhausting right around there. So tomorrow now, if blue ends up opening above basically what is 86, and we continue to make a move up higher, that is what gives us our bias that we're looking at blue as more of a trending candidate for tomorrow, right? So that should then get you another ticker on your watch list, something where you're prepared for the next day's trading activity instead of us just looking at sort of the fades that existed for today. So that's an opportunity that you might be looking at for tomorrow. Another one that we'll take a look at is AXSM. And for AXSM, we had an opportunity to fade as price hit our volatility box, right? Very similar to blue, but blue ended up continuing to go up higher. But in AXSM's case, we had an opportunity to go short right here, and we actually did hit our target almost immediately, right? Which was pretty nice to see. So we took out not only our first contract in there, then our second contracts were taken off at break even if you moved your stop down to break even, or if you took off all of your contracts at the first target, that's also perfectly valid. And for those of you wondering what this is representing in terms of an actual percentage move, from our entry to our target was right around a 1.5% move in the stock, which is around 70 cents on a $48 stock, which is pretty nice to see, right? Because that 1.5% move came in what was basically right around 15-ish or so minutes. And so that's really nice to see. The next thing that we saw is AXSM rather, is once we hit that first target, we then came right back up. And if you are a fan of retests, then you had another retest. But for us, retests aren't really valid entries. And what we started to notice is AXSM then stayed in what is our sort of trend exhaustion area. So similar to blue, if AXSM now opens really about 49.50 or 50, that then gives you an idea that you can start to look at AXSM for opportunities in the bullish scenario as a potential trending candidate for tomorrow. So hopefully in tonight's video, we not only covered the 30-year bond fade that occurred, but also two potential areas where you can look at for trades tomorrow and use the Volatility Box's information today to plan for tomorrow. All right, hope this video helped everyone, and we'll see you in tomorrow's nightly update. Take care, everyone.